welcome to all you parents who are out there who are in this summer break time trying to figure out what you're going to do to engage your students and what your children are involved in. If you have a minute, I would love for you to put in the chat what your children are up to, especially if it's STEM related. I'd like to find out more about the types of activities that you are looking for and just what kinds of things that you've done in the past, maybe some things that you've done that were successful and some things that maybe weren't. So we want to explore all of that today. My name is Jawan Stewart. I am the CEO of E.A.G.L.E Consulting, empowering all to give, lead, and excel. And I too am a parent of four. They're all young adults now, and I'm a grandparent of seven. So I'm really have a passion for parent support. And I do that through my PEP Talk series. PEP Talk is an acronym for Parent Engagement Pop-Up. And through this time together, I hope that you will find more information for yourself, for your families, and we want to position you to be successful and to thrive in the midst of everything that's going on. Let this be a safe space for you to engage and to learn more for yourself and for your families. So with that being said, this being the summer time, and we have a tendency to say that it's a summer slide that we're concerned about with our children during the summertime, that they're going to lose the information and learning that they have acquired during the school year. One of the ways that I believe that we can address it first is by changing that name. And let's change it to Summer Surge instead. And let's focus on what we can do to enhance and to build up our families and our students during the summer, as opposed to looking for the detrimental side. Okay. So what we're doing to this with the series for this month of July is looking at ways that you can build yourself, your family, and in particular, just helping you to be successful and helping your family and your students to be successful moving forward. So let's look at this summer surge through the lens of STEM. And let's look at ways that we can build that out. And my special guest today is Mr. Shawn Woodall. I have him on with us because I have come to find out that he is an expert when it comes to engaging with youth in the area of coding and helping them to not just find a love for it or enjoy it, but also understand the importance of application. And so with that being said, I am not going to go into a lot of detail because I'm going to give him the floor for a few minutes to share who he is, what he does as a parent, why he does what he does in the community, because he does a lot, and just open the floor for him. So thank you, Shawn, for being on with us today, and go right ahead.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I'm very happy to be here. It's been really good working with the organization thus far. So my name is Shawn Woodall. I have been a computer programmer for about 20 years, if not more. It's been a while. I've recently, in the last 4 to 5 years, been, not in the last 4 to 5 years, but in the last 10 years, been trying to figure out what I'm going to do, how am I going to give back? And I decided to take my coding expertise, to the kids. I started a company called E.A.G.L.E, and what we do is teach kids computer programming, and we do robotics in the community. I got this idea because I love teaching kids. Actually, was before I started E.A.G.L.E, I was building an app to teach kids how to read, right? And I've always wanted to teach kids. I always wanted to do something teaching. I enjoyed teaching my son how to read and write. Even though he gave me a hard time, But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that process of teaching him how to read, how to write his letters, all that stuff, math, all those things. And one year we were at the Atlanta Science Festival, and we went to a robotics I guess, event basically, where they had the Lego, the EV3 Lego robots. And my son was about, I'm gonna say 7 at the time, 6
Mm.
maybe. Um, and I was, I was still making the reading app, trying to figure out what I wanted actually to do. Like what was the thing? Was this reading app the thing, or was something else the thing? And we went to this event, and he liked the robots. I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, can we play with them? And I was like, well, we have to program them. And I was like, he was like, well, can we do that? And I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, I've never programmed one of these before. But at that time, I had been a programmer for about 15 years. So I was like, okay. I was like, I probably could figure this out in a couple minutes. So we started messing with it. One of the guys gave us the tablet and the robot, and he kind of gave us some basics. So I was like, all right, cool. So we figured it out. We figured out how to program it to get through this maze and things like that. And he loved it. Right? He loved it. And I was like, and at that moment, I was like, this is it. I was like, I'm taking the teaching and what I do and kind of putting them together.
Hold on just a second there. I like that. I just want to explore and dig a little bit deeper with that. Look at
Absolutely.
the fact that how you found you went through this process of trying to figure out, exactly where you wanted to land with what you did and and make an impact. You
Yeah.
want to give back in some capacity, but how you included your son in this process is just so wonderful. And then how you took an ordinary experience, just going out somewhere together and learning something new, and you had an aha eureka moment at that time. And
That
I just love that. I really do. I feel like there are a lot of times during when we're raising our children, we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life that we miss these eureka moments like that.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I love the fact that you were able to find that and now kind of transform it into what you do. So how long have you been working with students in coding with Code Elephant?
I've been working with students with Code Elephant for about 5 years now. This will be the 5th year. I'll say that.
Mm.
In August, that'll mark 5 years.
Congratulations.
So we're coming up on that. It's been really fun to do and learn and watch the kids grow. I've been working with. There's been a lot of repeat kids that come back to my program. So I've been very, very blessed to watch them go from not knowing anything to building their own robots and programming them to do cool things. And it's really cool to watch. It's really cool to watch. And like some of the kids in the program have created like a bond where we'll hang out outside of the program. So that's also cool. So yeah, it's been a blessing to actually do this, and hopefully I can figure out a way to keep doing it in the future. That's the goal, is to never stop doing it. But it's a struggle to keep doing it. I'll tell you
Mhm.
that, like, because the world is ever changing. I mean, we were on a certain trajectory before COVID,
Mhm.
and now we're on a different trajectory. So that all of that hustle and bustle and all of that change is a lot. I'll tell you that. But like I tell one of my friends last night,
Mhm.
I'll keep trying every day. Every time I get a chance, I keep trying to figure it out, because this is what I like to do.
No, I appreciate that, and that's perseverance to kept stay in there and continue to work through those kinks
Yeah,
and things of any kind of business. We have to do that, and then also being able to pivot and make some changes, like you said, because of COVID. There are a lot of things that had to change. Even for me, I understand how that goes, but I'm just wondering, why is it important from your perspective for parents to start exposing their youth to coding?
oh,
Why is that so important right now? I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of things, like you said, you're trying to work on something for reading, you're trying to work on something for other things, you know what I mean? So why coding? Why now? And
Yeah.
I know it may seem obvious, but I really would like to hear from your perspective, your take on that.
Okay, well, there are a couple things actually. First thing is that it teaches a level of problem solving. I'll say that. So traditionally, how we teach kids to solve problems is through math, right? We do word problems, we do algebra. One of the things that I learned in my adult life is that uh, um, I used to always try to figure out, well, why are they teaching me algebra? Like, this is nothing. Like, what are they doing with this? Like, this is just A's and B's and C's, and I'm trying to get it to equal 0, but I don't even know what I'm doing, right? There's all these rules on how to change it all around, but I don't have a concept of what I'm doing.
Mm.
And in my adult life, graduated from college, and I realized that, hey, that was all algebra was manipulation. It is taking something that is one way and changing it to be what you want it to be. The answer is supposed to be 5, but hey, you need it to be 0. So change it around, do what you need to do to make it 0, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, and it hit me. I was like, that's why we learn it, and that's why it carries throughout your entire math life, because you need that manipulation if you're going to do math, right? If you're going to do any sort of abstract math, you need to know how to change it up to manipulate it.
Wow.
And coding supplements that. It doesn't replace that. It supplements that. The reason why it's a good supplement is because you can touch it, right? You can't touch algebra. It's tough, right? It's tough for kids to be like, hey, like a lot of kids are gonna say, what is that? Like, I can't even figure out what that is because I can't touch it. It's so abstract that it's hard to get your head around it. But those same principles that we use for algebra, changing things around, manipulating if statements, loops, we use those same variables. We use those same concepts in coding. And in coding, you can use those concepts to make a game, right? And that you can play. And now that makes sense, right? They like, oh, I get that. I get how when I hit the base, when I press the button, it swings the baseball bat. And I get how when the baseball bat touches the ball, it makes a sound and the ball goes to the outfield. They get that, and all of that coding, all of that logic kind of makes sense. And it's very similar or the same logic as algebra, as math, what they're trying to get you to how they're trying to get you to think abstractly. So that is one of the main things that I like about coding, is that you can touch it. I mean, with robotics, you can even further touch it. It's a thing now, something you can hold in your hand. So yeah, so that is one thing. The biggest thing that I always tell parents is that it is going to help them in the future. I mean, we're going into an era where they have a robots that take your order in McDonald's, right? We've had self checkout for ages now, right?
You're right.
And those are robots, right?
Mhm.
Somebody got to program them, somebody got to fix them, right? And we're going more of that. It's not going less, it's going more, because companies are investing more into that technology and say, hey, we can pay $20 million for it today, but in 10 years we pay nothing for it, right? It never stops. Websites never stop, they never turn off. You can take orders 24 hours a day. So brick and mortar stores, I mean, it's tough.
It is. It really is. You're talking economics there. That's
Yeah.
a whole new, that's a whole realm, that we have to consider, and how we're positioning our students for the future. Like you say, to get them ready. I kind of liken it to also, like back in the day when I was getting ready to go to school, one of the things my mom would say to us is that you're going to learn how to type.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to type.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be a secretary. Well, you got to learn how to type. And little did I know down the road that would put me at an advantage.
Yes.
And I feel the same way sort of with coding,
yes.
that the earlier we can expose students to that, now it puts them at an advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
Yes. 100%, because you have to, if you're not going to be a coder, you have to kind of understand the language. It's still like, doesn't really, like, even though you're not a secretary, you still need to know how to type, right? So you need to understand the coding language to a certain extent, regardless of what you're going to do.
Mhm.
And that leads to my last point. It was empowerment, right? So once you learn
Mm.
coding, like you're empowered to do anything, right? If
Wow.
you learn it and you're actually going to be good at it, you don't need anything to build an app. Like you can just get a computer and build an app. You don't need anything to build a website. You can get a computer and build a website. It's not really something that is inaccessible. It's kind of like basketball. You know, like everywhere in the world, there's a basketball court. You know, it's one of the easiest sports to get yourself into.
Mhm.
Nowadays, everybody has a computer, or most of the population has a computer.
Mhm.
Um, and you can pretty much do whatever you want to do on those things. You can build a website, you can build an app, you can program a robot, you can do a lot of things just having a computer and knowing how to code. So yeah, that's the last step, is empowering the kids to take their life into their own hands, basically.
I love that. I love that you end on that note with that, because it's really important to help our students to see the value that learning these skills and learning these abilities can, it really helps them as they're building whatever they want to become.
Yep.
And using the summer to take advantage, kind of going back to the point of summer surge, using the summer to take advantage of classes, courses, organizations, programs that offer coding
Yep.
is a huge asset to them. You can build this out, they can learn about this, and they can work with this even during the course of the school year or in an after school program if they're part of that.
Absolutely.
Um, I have a question in regards to your journey as in software engineering.
Mhm.
Did you always know that you had an aptitude for math? Did you always, I mean,
No,
were you a great math student? I mean,
no.
a lot of times our students are like, I don't really like math that much. I don't
Yes.
know if I'm really good at it. And so I'm just curious about your journey.
I was one of them kids that I think maybe like somebody put in my head that I wasn't good at math. And well,
Mhm.
I don't think I was that good at math. I didn't think I was. And then somebody put in my head that I can say, hey, I'm not that good at math, and it's okay. Um, and I said that for a long time, that I'm not that good at math and it's okay. I always liked technology though. Like, so I was always on a computer. Ever since we got a computer in my house, I was always on a computer. I was always doing things on a computer. I will always be taking things apart in my house and putting them back together. So like
Wow.
that tinkering thing, that was always there.
Mhm.
Um, but math, I didn't realize I was good at math until I was in college. I was in calculus, right? I was in calculus when I figured out, I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, isn't like I can definitely do this. And it was one of my teachers, he was really good at explaining it.
Mm,
Um, and taking that class, I realized like, oh, like I've never been bad at math. I just need to practice a little bit. I just need to pay attention in this way a little bit if I'm going to get this stuff. And that's what I tell my son now, because he's like, like math is, it's a struggle some days. Most of the time he's fine, but sometimes
mhm,
he's like, that was hard. I'm like, okay,
mhm.
if that's hard, all you need to do is do a couple. I always tell him, hey, if you're all on a hard subject, do one or two problems every day when you come home. Just one or two. That's it. Like, you don't gotta do 12, you don't gotta do 100, you don't gotta spend an hour on it. One or two a day. By the
That's
end of the
good.
week, you've done 10, 12 problems, whatever, right? And you've gotten good at it by then. You kind of know what you're doing a little bit, because you're doing it every day. When you come home, you're doing it in school. Like, so just one or two. That's it. Nothing crazy.
I know, I love that. See, that is a technique and that's a nugget that you can easily apply as a parent.
Oh yeah.
It makes it a little bit more digestible for
Yes.
your student. It's not like I remember those days, trust me, of sitting down at the table and you're doing this and you're going to get it done. And
Yes.
it's like, and they're whining and crying the whole time, not you're wondering how much are they really getting? Are they
Yes.
understanding it? And so for you to say that, to say, number one, I didn't think I was that great at it,
Yeah.
but I needed the right instructor. I needed
Yeah.
someone to break it down for me so I could see that I could be good at it.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That speaks volumes to me as a parent, and I look at that even regarding my grandchildren, just encouraging them to stay with it, don't give up,
Well, yeah.
persevere through the struggle with it, and just to take it a little bit at a time, do one problem each day to kind of build your skills. It's almost like working that muscle.
Yes.
It's like getting stronger at it by working at it a little bit every time. So what you're saying is valuable. I think that's so important. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
That's really, really good. Oh my gosh. I wish I had known that with it back in the day. It's like, even
Always.
for myself. But I
Yeah.
like that. I think it's important to recognize that a lot of times we try to bite off so much at one time
Yeah.
instead of just taking a little bit at a time and watching the slow and steady progress.
That's the
You
one
know,
thing programming taught me a lot. That's one of the main things programming taught me is small steps. That's what computers do. They read things in the smallest, the easiest thing that they can do. They're going to break it down to the smallest step possible and just do all of them at one time, right? Well, not all at one time, like at one after another. And that's kind of how I try to think. It's like, hey, like, what can I do to make this easy? Like,
mhm,
what can I do to just simplify this to the easiest way I can? I don't want to make
mm,
it hard,
mm.
and to not make it hard, it's like, okay, just do one. Oh, I can do one. It takes me 2 minutes. Bet. All right, we're done.
No,
So
I like that. So what has been your, um, I guess, well, how do I want to say this question? What do you, what do you see as a challenge, or as for what do you see as an obstacle?
mhm.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, as an obstacle to student success when it comes to just math in general, or to technology and science in general. What do you see out of the students that you see coming into your program, and just seeing where they are at the beginning and then where they wind up at the end?
Yeah.
What do you see as the main obstacle for them?
That's a really good question, but I would say probably um, just I would say making it too hard. I mean, I would say the reason why I would say making it too hard is that my son and a couple of the kids that I've been around, um, they sometimes they don't like things when they are too difficult, right, for them to handle at the time, or too stressful, right?
Mm,
It's for them to actually handle. So if you give, some, like, I know this one kid, I mean, just crazy. He loves math. He loves math, right? Like, he's the only kid I know that actually loves math. When we do anything with the robotics, he's like, let me calculate everything, right? He loves math. But if you make it stressful for him, right? He's like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to be stressed out. I want to have a good time. I like this, but I don't want to be
mhm,
stressed out. And that's my son is like that too. He's like, I like this. I want to have fun with this, but I don't want to be stressed out. And a lot of times, the kids are stressed out. They have a lot of work to do. They got homework. They got like 4 or 5 classes. They got all sorts of things. Kids messing with them in school. It's stressful.
mhm, mhm.
It's really stressful to me. That has been the biggest hindrance that I've encountered with them learning things and getting things and understanding things at a good pace, or them not wanting to do things. It's like, I don't be stressed out.
So what I'm hearing you say is you kind of take the stress out of that
Yes, I
by them
try my
coming
best.
and engaging with you
I
and
try
in
my
your
best.
programming. It's
Yeah.
like we're removing the stress, we're making
Yep.
it more engaging and more
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
And that way they're in a position mentally
Yes.
to receive it.
Handle it. Yep. Yep. And
Mm,
when a kid in my program is getting, like, so for instance, we're working with robots, and we're building custom robots to do
mhm,
things that, so well, about the Lego mat. So we have a
mhm,
mat and we have different obstacles, and tell the kids, hey, pick what obstacle you want to try to accomplish, and some will pick the biggest thing and some will pick the smallest thing, right? um So, if I get a kid that's doing their thing and they're having a hard time doing it, I will either help them out, say, hey, try this thing or try that. Or I'll redirect them, say, hey, you spend enough time doing this part, right? There's another part over here. How about you try that first? And then maybe you can get a W there, and then
Mhm.
you can move on to the next thing. Because it's that confidence really that helps them get through those tough moments.
Mhm.
If you stack a couple of W's together, you know,
I got
you got
this.
that confidence, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's so good. That's so good. And that you just alluded to something I wanted to share too, or kind of put a little emphasis on, is that I guess in the question that I'd like to ask next is in regards to, I'm sure you have students that are involved in a lot of other things outside of coding,
Hmm. Oh yeah,
like maybe basketball,
yep,
football,
yep,
track,
all sorts of
different
things.
things like that.
Yep.
And then they have to figure out how they're going to juggle this. How am I juggling? How, where is the priority? As a parent, how do you address that, even with your own son? How do you balance those things? Because you know that this is something that's important. He needs to be aware of these things, but
Yeah.
um, how do you prioritize them, or I'll help them to prioritize what is important?
Yeah, that is tough because I have one of those kids that likes to do everything. So that's like you're speaking to me, like I deal with that all the time, is trying to balance him out because he likes to do everything and he likes
Mhm.
to do nothing because he's a teenager now.
It's that extreme, right?
Yes, it's really that extreme. So so a lot of times what I'll tell him is I'll try to pick things that are on theme with what he likes, right?
Mm,
So he likes programming, he likes robotics, he likes science, he likes music. So I'll pick something along that line, right?
mhm,
Of a creative lane. It doesn't really to me, a lot of times with him, it doesn't really matter what I pick as long as it's being creative. If I pick art
mm,
class, if I pick piano, if I pick something, just him building something, hey, that's creative. So that's all in the same headspace to me. And
mhm,
then a lot of times I'll try to pick something that's totally out of his realm that he's never
mhm,
done before.
mhm,
Something like ultimate frisbee. He's never done that before. Hey, we're gonna try this because it's the opposite of what you're doing. So I'll try to pick those two things that he can do to kind of say, all right, we can't do everything, but
mhm,
you like to build, you like to do these things. Let's pick something in that realm. Doesn't matter what it is, but because you're still using that same muscle to
mhm,
build and to create
mhm,
and to design all of that. So it doesn't. So I don't really care what you do in that realm. You can
mhm.
just do something, all right? And then and that'll cover the big thing that you like.
Oh.
Um, and then you can do something else. Kind of like if you have a sports kid, just whatever sport, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what sport. They don't have to do 3 or 4 sports. Like just put them in a sport, or
Mhm.
and they'll love it because they like sports.
No,
um,
that's true. What about those situations where you have a conflict where they want to do both. They want to do robotics, they want to do
yep,
sports, and it's like they're happening around the same time, or the demand is
and
more.
man,
Because I know, like, um you do the coaching. Full disclosure here, he's coaching our robotics teams for our my nonprofit organization, John and Juan Stewart Jr. Foundation. So Coach Woodall, Shawn, is going to be working with our students in that capacity this coming school year. And I know from experience that there is a challenge in balancing out, or trying to figure out as a parent, do I invest this much time with
yep,
this program for my son or daughter?
yep,
Is it going to be, are they going to be committed? I think that's a big thing for parents, is that, not so much just the cost, but also the commitment level.
yep.
Are we going to be able to fit it into our schedule? And how does that work? So, looking at that as a parent and also as a coach now too, working, what are the things that you can share with parents to kind of ease their mind in regards to that?
Mm.
or help them to understand that, you know, this is a way that you can look at it as a parent.
Yeah. Um, hmm, that's a good one. So being that my son likes to do everything, so my son is in beta club. He plays piano. He does robotics. He likes sports. Right. So we're all over the place. He likes to build things like physically. So he's certified in the wood shop. So like
Oh
also
my goodness.
right.
Oh my gosh.
So all sorts of things.
Hmm.
So what I try to do is I try to make sure he has days off when it comes to that type of scheduling, and when it comes to having like multiple things to do. I try to make sure he has days off. So hey, if you got robotics on Saturday, and then you got piano on Monday, and then you got something during the middle of the week. Hey, we you got Thursday and Friday, or you got a day in there, or 2 days in there, or you're not doing
Hmm.
anything. That's what we need. We need that type of balance. We need to make sure that hey, you got time to come decompress. You got time to do your homework and not be stressed out about a lot of homework. Because my kid's going to the 8th grade this year, so I always try to keep that in mind. Like, hey, you need to not be stressed out about your homework. You need to not be stressed out about tests.
Hmm.
You need to not be like your mental capacity is one of the highest priorities that we have, is to make sure that
Mm.
you're not going to be stressed out. So hey, let's think about this in a way where you can actually do the things that you want
Yeah,
to do and get whatever and do your obligations as well. So yeah, I mean,
that's that's
and
really good.
that comes
That's
with
really good.
sometimes it comes with taking seasons off, like
Hmm.
and making tough decisions. Like, hey, what are some of the things that we're probably not going to stop doing? We're probably not going to stop playing the piano, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that's a big one. Because we've been doing it for about a year, and it's like, okay, that's I think he likes it. It's really important.
Hmm.
Um, and certain things like a junior beta club,
Hmm.
that's a good thing to be in, because it helps you out with community stuff and service projects and scholarships and everything, right?
Hmm.
But that's one of the things that can get on the chopping block, unfortunately, because it's like, okay, cool. If you don't have time to do that for an hour or two on whatever day you guys have your meetings and projects, then and if your mind is not going to be good after that, hey,
Hmm.
we could drop that. Even though it's really, really important, even though
Yeah,
it's really like one of the most important things that he does, I think, because because of the scholarship factor.
right.
Um, I was like, that's if you can't do it, then
Hmm.
you're not gonna get a scholarship anyway, right?
Hmm.
Like it's not gonna happen. So
Yeah,
you
you
got
got to balance which one
yeah,
is, yeah.
gotta
Mm.
make sure you gotta make sure that's gonna work out good for you. So like, yeah, so it really just depends on like what your kid's mental capacity is. Some kids can do 12 things and they can get straight A's. My kid can't, so
No, I mean that's a
yeah.
very honest and transparent answer, and I appreciate that because, I remember when my children were younger, everybody was involved. I having four, everybody had to be involved in everything at the same time because I wasn't going to divide up and
Oh,
divide and
the
conquer.
back and
So
forth.
it's like I couldn't do that.
Mhm.
So it's like if everybody was doing, one person doing piano, everybody does
Everybody's
piano.
doing piano. Yep.
Yeah. We're all experiencing it.
Yes.
Everybody's doing football, then the girls are doing cheerleading or
Yep.
whatever. We just did it that
100%.
way as a family to survive,
That makes sense. I mean,
basically.
that makes perfect
And
sense.
so every family you have to do what works. And you have to find out, it's through trial and error that you find out what works for your family.
Yeah.
You don't always know right off the bat. But I do remember the time when my children finally decided they didn't want to do piano anymore, and they told me that. And they were like, and I thought, I could save this money
Yeah.
and apply it to something else,
Yes.
you know? So, I mean, those are things that you have to kind of weigh as a parent. Then I also remember going to trying to find exposure opportunities for them in the area of STEM.
Yeah.
And in our area at that time, we're talking about over 20 years ago, there's hardly anything
Very
out
little.
there,
Yeah.
hardly anything. And the only thing that was accessible was on the college campus at Georgia Tech.
Yep.
They had the seismic program that my children participated in. And then they would also have some coding sort of things every now and then at Emory. And so trying to get them there, signed up and make arrangements because inevitably the times were not convenient and you'd have to coordinate that well. So it's not easy to do, but we did it, we experienced it. And I think they're better for it. And we learned a lot, in that process. So I think as a family and as a parent, and I hear what you're saying, that it's so important that you kind of, use the summer to
Oh, yeah.
figure it out, to kind
Mhm.
of see what works and what doesn't, what your child likes, what they don't like, what their spark is, what their interests are.
Yes.
I love the idea that you expose your son to a lot of different things because um, and you make sure that he tries something new. I
Yes.
really emphasize that as a when I coach parents, I think it's so important that they um, stretch their student in that way to give them opportunities to grow, to learn, to fail.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it. Because if you find out I don't like it, then that saves you a whole lot of money
That's
before
it.
they go to college.
That's it. That's
They
it.
go to college and they can go in for 2 or 3 years and say, I don't really like
Right.
this anymore. And then you
Exactly.
use all that money.
It's gone.
But you could figure about it now while they're in elementary, middle, and high school, explore something during the summertime. And they say, you know what? I really don't like that at
Yes.
all. And
Yes.
so that changes the trajectory. It's like, okay, we can go and regroup. What else do we need to do? So
Yeah. Summertime.
that's
Oh,
my take on it.
no, summertime is a great time to try stuff too. I mean, because you got time.
Mhm.
You don't have that school time. You can literally try things that you didn't get a chance to try during the school year.
Mhm.
You can have them join the robotics club. You can have them sign up for piano or any sort of music or any sort of
Mhm.
sports team. My kid
Mhm.
ran track last summer
Mhm.
randomly. So it's all sorts of things you can just try to
Yeah.
do because they have all of the time in the world last year. I mean, my kid ran the Peachtree race, the Peachtree Junior race last year, and he was on the track team, Atlanta Track Club, and everything. And I always just tried it because we got
Mhm.
time. It's like, okay, what else you
Mhm.
gonna do? Like,
I
you
love
need to
that.
figure out something.
No, that's so good. That really is I like that. I've been wanting to do the Peachtree race myself.
Mhm.
It's like, I
Cooking
do.
is another one that you can
Mhm.
try over the summertime because
Mhm.
usually kids come home from school, they're doing their homework, and parents are cooking or takeout or whatever. But over the summertime, they're not doing homework that much. They might still do some schoolwork, but they're not going to
Yeah.
do as much as they're going to do in school. So hey, they might have time to help you out in the kitchen, learn a skill. Hey, learn how to cook a meal or something like that. Build that skill up. So because when they get out of the house, they go to college one of these days, or they have their own apartment. They're gonna need that skill. I was the only one of my friends that knew anything about the kitchen when I went to college.
I love it. I love it.
Because I watched my mom cook, but if you don't have that skill, then
There you go.
you're gonna go to college. It's tough. You're gonna be eating ramen noodles, man.
The whole time. Oh my gosh. A ravioli.
Yes, it's tough, man.
That's good. I love that. That's really, really true. Use the summer as a time on and learn a
Yes,
new skill and really look for opportunities to grow and build these things for your students. You can do that, parents. I am not going to hold you any longer. I really want to thank Shawn for being on with us today, Mr. Woodall for sharing with us, Coach Woodall. And we are just excited to be able to entertain any questions that you have. If you'd like to share your thoughts about this information that you received today, feel free to reach out and be a part of our Facebook family. We have the E7 Parent Advantage Hub that you can sign on for free and be a part of and get updates of different information that we have going out during the course of the month. We'll have more updates and things going on for you as parents to encourage you in your journey and help you to navigate opportunities to help your family survive the summer and really take advantage of the summer surge. So thank you again for being here and appreciate your time.
No problem.